Ladies and gentlemen, we have days that we mark in the industry. This is a red letter day. Ayersville High School girls basketball coach Tim Nicely throwing on the headsets after months of asking, dare I say begging. Coach, pleasure to have you aboard. If this one plays out even half as well on the court as it looks on paper, everybody's going to be in for a treat today.
Yeah, it looks like the stat sheets look very, very good. First time I'll see any one of these teams play, but keeping up with the paper just a little bit, but it should be a heck of a game, and from start to finish.
We're going to break down some more of the X's and O's in just a couple of minutes. We're also going to hear from Defiance head coach Bryn Lehman. Our player profile is the sophomore sensation Josiah Schlatter. He had 3 threes in the first half, went scoreless in the third quarter on Wednesday against Wapakoneta, and then stepped up big in that fourth quarter, not the least of which was from the free throw line. As a matter of fact, in the fourth quarter, from the 4-minute mark in, Defiance was 5 for 9 from the charity stripe to help salt away a single-digit victory. Coach, I want to get maybe your take on this before. You've been in this situation before, not much unlike last season with an Ayersville girls team that was ranked in the top 10 for most of the year. The kids know what's on the line here. You don't necessarily need to make this moment any bigger than it already is, but from a psychological standpoint, can you treat this like any other game? How do you approach it with your team when you give them that pep talk in the locker room?
Well, like you said, they know what's going on. They hear it from their classmates, their parents, their neighbors. They know what's going on. I think you just got to say, hey, just got to relax, and let the game come to you a little bit. Don't try to do too much or do more than what you're capable of doing. Just let the game come to you, and then let your ability take over.
We're going to do the same thing for our broadcast up here in Press Row. How's that?
Right.
We're going to let the broadcast come to us. As I mentioned, had a chance to stop out at Defiance's practice yesterday, talk with Coach Bryn Lehman, the sophomore superstar, Josiah Schlatter. He's going to draw a lot of attention this afternoon, but it's not just a one-man team. We won't break anybody's trust here. We'll let them tell us all about it in their own words. Our thanks going out to our sponsor, Estill Chevrolet Cadillac, located on North Clinton Streets in Defiance. Stop on out, check out their tremendous selection of new, and in my case, used vehicles. Everybody's on a budget, but they have a vehicle for everybody's price range. If you can't get out in person, you can also check them out online at drivebobestel.com. We're going to take a quick time out. Back with more of the Estill Chevrolet Cadillac pregame show. You're watching DCTV Sports.
Estill Chevrolet Cadillac is this area's new and used car headquarters, earning your trust one satisfied customer at a time. Estill Chevrolet Cadillac, North Clinton Street in Defiance, and online at drivebobestel.com.
Discover top-quality healthcare education at Northwest State. Our instructors have real-world experience, so they know how to prepare you for great career opportunities. Northwest State, where you'll get the top-quality healthcare education you need to succeed.
Welcome back. I'm sitting here trying to think, does Liberty Benton actually have a nickname for their gym? Everybody in the northwest portion of the state has the Dog Pound. We've got the Hangar. We're trying to give a few. I guess it's just good old Liberty Benton, right?
No idea.
What it is the third round of the playoffs. We've got the seeds playing out. Number 1 Shawnee versus number 2 Defiance. Our thanks going out to our pregame sponsor. It is Estill Chevrolet Cadillac, located on North Clinton Street in downtown Defiance. Check out their great selection of vehicles in person or online at drivebobestel.com. You win this one, we'll style you in a Cadillac Escalade over to Toledo for the next round of the playoffs. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
All right. Coach Lehman joining us right now. He forces a smile, but we know that he's probably gotten an aggregate of maybe 3 hours of sleep in the last 72 hours.
Yep.
Look, this is the part of time, this is the part of the season, I should say, that everybody wishes they were in. So you embrace the grind. But let's rewind before we go ahead and preview. You've broken down the film. You got a white-knuckle ride. Actually, you got kind of 2 games in one, because the first 16 minutes was about as sharp as we've seen Defiance play all season long. You knew Wapak wasn't going to roll over and play dead. What did you see? What did the film tell you when you broke that one down?
I thought we played really well. I think, we missed some bunnies there in the second half, and I thought that would have created some separation and distance to put them away. So, if I've got to gripe about something, it's probably that in the second half. But I thought our defense was really, really good, and I think for a large majority of that game we were great. So if we can, button up a couple of those things, we'll be in good shape.
What you also were able to do, and I keep a stat myself, the book, I don't just break down quarters, but I break down the quarters in halves. First 4 minutes, second 4 minutes. Certainly what you call the last 4 minutes of a game, crunch time, your guys were able to salt it away from the free throw line. What did they learn about themselves?
We've shot it pretty well from the free throw line all season, so I think that's something that we've sort of embraced late in games. We got a little bit sloppy there in the last minute, but overall we were pretty good in the last minute.
Look, who hasn't played basketball that hasn't said, Coach, line you up, 1 to tie, 2 to win. If you miss, you're running. There's a difference, though, when there's 3 minutes left to go in a one-possession game. Is there a way to simulate that in practice, or is it just a matter of you're basically counting on each player to try and do it mentally, individually, and then dig back to that place when the time does come for that?
Yeah, you can simulate it in a few ways in practice, but you got to have gutsy guys that are willing to embrace those moments. So we're fortunate with the group we've got. We've got 7, 8, 9 guys that they're not going to shy away from the big moment, and that's propelled us to 19 wins, and we're hoping we can get another one now.
Last time these two teams met was the only time this season. It was January 17th. Defiance had them down by double digits in the fourth quarter. I'm not trying to open up an old wound, but the tough overtime loss. What did this group learn about itself that night? And I don't want to say payback, but it sounds like you've challenged the guys to use at least part of that in the proper way for motivation. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, I think we learned that we can't take anything for granted. And I think we built a big lead, and we thought we could kind of go through the motions and finish a game off, and that's just not realistic in varsity basketball. So I think our guys realized that we were playing for this moment, and we wanted to work ahead to this. So we're ready to go. And you want to play for a championship, and we've given ourselves that opportunity.
Don't want to give away the game plan, but for the most part, and it's been no secret, a lot of two-man ball offensively. Both the Berkeys averaging 20, 18.5 points respectively. How do you slow them down?
I don't know if you're going to slow them down. I mean, you can, kind of welcome other guys taking more shots. Sure. But the Berkeys are going to get theirs. One way or another, they're going to get to the foul line or they're going to get run-outs. We've just got to find a way to limit that. And I think if we do a good job of limiting that and make some of their role guys a little bit uncomfortable and make them make plays, I think we can put ourselves in a position to do some damage.
It's no secret they want to run. They're averaging just over 64, almost 65 points per ball game. As we talked about, they'll run on makes as well as misses. Transition D going to be critical. Break it down for us. In a perfect world, where do you want to pick up the ball? Where do you want to direct it? And then disrupt the offense from there.
We're going to send two back defensively. So transition defense is number one, 1A, 1B, whatever you want to say. It's going to make or break this game. And if they get runouts and they get easy buckets early on, that doesn't bode well. And even late, I thought we did a good job of managing that the first time, but they got it late in the fourth quarter. So we're going to send two back defensively. We want to pick up at half court, and we've got to do a good job of finding our guys.
At this point, you don't need to give any big or huge Normandale-esque pregame speeches, but what is your message to your team about the second time around, knowing you're playing for the right to get on the bus one more time?
Yeah, we looked at film and we did some really good things the first time. We just didn't finish, and we had opportunities, and we did some uncharacteristic things late in that game, getting sloppy with the basketball. So we looked at film, some clips that we played really well, and that's what we're going to try to mimic.
Every player, every play. Is that really what it boils down to?
Absolutely. We said whatever it takes. Whatever you've got to do to give our team a chance to win, that's what's got to be done.
We're looking forward to it. The winner moves on. We'll wait and see in 32 minutes who's got the right to head to Savage Arena. Coach, as always, we appreciate it. Best of luck to you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Coach Lehman joining us on the Estill Chevrolet Cadillac pregame show. Back right after this. We've got our keys to the game and the starting lineups. You're watching DCTV Sports.
Proudly serving the area with the highest quality contracting services for nearly 100 years. Baker Schindler Company of Defiance and Paulding, 419-782-5080. Online at baker-schindler.com. Simplify your everyday banking with convenient account options and digital banking features that fit your unique lifestyle. Premier Bank, everyday banking solutions designed for you. Explore solutions today at yourpremierbank.com.
Welcome back. The Estill Chevrolet Cadillac pregame show continues. We are taking it on the road. They have played 2 postseason games. They have earned the right to play a third. The seeds have played out. Number 1 Shawnee versus number 2 Defiance. Brent Balbinot saying thank you for joining us as the Estill Chevrolet Cadillac pregame show sees our player profile join me right now. He was our postgame player, and now he's earned the right to go ahead and have another segment to himself. Josiah Schlatter had a fantastic game in their big win against Wapakoneta. Now it is time, I don't want to say for a little payback, because in all honesty, it doesn't matter who's on the other side of that court right now. You're playing for the right to head to Savage Arena, just 2 games away from the state tournament. So before we go ahead and preview, you okay with rewinding a little bit?
Yep, sounds good.
He's no stranger to this. What is this, Mark, your 3rd time now?
Yeah, probably.
He's been so well-spoken. He's also been very good on the court. So his performance has mandated that we go ahead and keep talking to him. Let's talk a little bit about first half versus second half against Wapakoneta. Look, you knew that they weren't going to come out and just roll over and play dead. Tremendous first 16 minutes. You held them off, and you did so primarily salting it away from the free throw line. I know you've talked about your approach. It wasn't just you, but you guys really nailed it away when it counted. You've seen the tape. What did you learn from Wednesday night's game?
Just playing hard and not letting down. I mean, starting off strong and then not letting down at the end, finishing out strong how we need to play.
So give you guys a little bit more confidence. I mean, it's one thing to win a blowout. It's another thing to win kind of a white-knuckle ride. You had a combination of both. What was Coach's message to you when you went ahead and hit the bus on the ride home?
Well, just finishing out games. I mean, we started out good, and that was, we were hitting shots, everything was going well, but being able to maintain that and not letting down at the end, we have to finish teams out.
This man right here had 9 points at the half. They all came from beyond the arc, and then they buckled down on you. You got face guarded. Your jersey looked like it was about a size larger at the end of the game than it was prior to it. They were doing anything they could to hand check, jam you. You anticipate that again today, do you not?
Yeah, I mean, coming out playing an all right game against them last time, you got to expect that a little bit and just be up to the challenge and be ready to play.
So what does that mean? What do you have to do extra? Not just individually, but relying on your teammates to be able to get open, get more touches, basically get good looks.
Well, we're going to have to move the ball around and space the floor. They're long, so we're going to have to drive, get inside, create easy looks, and like I said, drive, get open shots, kickouts, just play strong and get to the basket.
When he said long, he wasn't kidding. 6'6", 6'6", they've got 6'7" there. That doesn't mean that they're not susceptible. As a matter of fact, it looks like you've worked on the pump fake a lot. Is the idea to potentially get them out of position, maybe turn 2 into a potential 3-point play?
Yeah, I mean, getting them up in the air, they're bigs, they want to block shots, so getting them up in the air, driving by, getting open shots is what we're looking for.
What's the challenge defensively at that end of the court for you?
We have to get back on defense. They like to run, so they feed off momentum like that, so we're going to have to get back and be able to pick up guys when they're coming back.
This is a team that won't just run on a miss, they'll run on a make. They want to just plain outscore you. What's the key in your transition D? I know Coach kind of got on you a little bit at this practice. It's one thing to hustle back, but then all kind of camp out maybe 5 or 6 feet from the basket. Where do you want to pick up the ball? Where do you want to move the ball in your transition D?
We're going to have to stop the ball first so they can't just get quick dribble penetration, but also being able to anticipate when they get the ball into the paint, being able to pack the paint so they can't get easy looks, and then finding shooters on the perimeter.
All right, I didn't want to go there, but I'm going to now because Coach did touch on it. And I don't want to call this game payback. You had them down by double digits right here at the dog pound earlier this year. Ended up dropping in overtime. There's a phrase, the windshield is bigger than the rearview mirror, because where you're going is more important than where you've been. But do you guys use that game for motivation at all, or is it completely in the past?
We look at it a little bit, and we know we had them up by double digits there at the end, and just let it slip out of our hands. Simple mistakes that we should have had, and we use it as motivation to come back and play a better game on today.
You guys have a little bit more of a chip on your shoulder this time around?
Yeah.
More personal?
Yeah, a little bit, yep.
A little bit. Now, just because you win this one doesn't mean you're there, but how far can this team go? What's its ceiling 2 games into the postseason right now?
We've shown this year that we can play with anyone. So knowing that we can play with these guys and then going to play with other people as well, I mean, I think we can play with anyone.
Right. Sophomore year, although technically by the end of the year they tell you you're the next grade up. So you're really a junior in waiting, so to speak. Any idea what the summer's going to hold for you? You told me that you're planning on being a gym rat. You planning on playing any AAU ball, getting any camps, or is it still a little early for that?
We'll see how the summer goes. Not going to look too far into the future, but yeah, being in the gym a lot, playing, building chemistry with some of the young guys is going to be important for us for going on next year.
First, most important game, Shawnee, right?
Yep.
Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Josiah Slatter joining us as our player profile. We're going to take a quick time out. We're back with more of the Estill Chevrolet Cadillac pregame show right after this. You're watching DCTV Sports.
The place is buzzing. We are still about 6 to 7 minutes away from tip-off. The seeds have played out. Top-seeded Lima Shawnee, second-seeded Defiance. Somebody will punch their ticket to the district semifinals next week. The other will have to pack their gear away until next season. Welcome back. The Estill Chevrolet Cadillac pregame show continues. Brent Palbanon alongside the coach Tim Nicely. Bulldogs and Indians. As a matter of fact, the Bulldogs have finished their warm-ups early and gone to the locker room, while the Indians are going to try and take advantage of as much of the next 6 minutes as possible. Time now for your keys to the game. They are brought to you by Northwest State Community College. Your key to a great career opportunity begins with a great education at Northwest State. Visit northweststate.edu or call 419-267-1320 today. Let's start with the Shawnee Indians. 22-2 on the season. The only team to beat Defiance at home at the Dog Pound this season. They're going to try and make it 2 for 2. Let's start with the first, and this is an obvious one. They want to track me. Coach, they average nearly 65 points per game. They want to keep it in overdrive, and this is a team that will run on your makes as much as your misses.
Well, you got to tell your players you got to get back right away. As soon as you make a basket or even shoot a basket, you got to have at least 2 people back at all times to stop that transition for them and hopefully get the rest of your guys back to play good, solid defense for the rest of that possession.
Yeah. Shawnee, I'm not saying they don't care about playing defense, but their thought is you score 2 on a layup, we'll score 3 on a breakaway at the other end, and at the end of the game, the math adds up in our favor.
Yeah, that hurts you, if you give up too many threes, and you got to get out on their shooters. I'm sure Defiance knows who their best shooters are, and then you never know where that shooter's going to come out of the woodwork and not show up the other game, but might show up tonight.
Second, keep Schlatter within arm's reach. Josiah Schlatter is the team's second leading scorer. He is their best three-point shooter and also their best free throw shooter. He had 14 in that win against Wapakoneta on Tuesday. He knows what's coming, but he's going to have a security force around him. Whether they switch, whether they face guard, they're going to jam him on cuts. They are going to try and make life miserable for him today.
Yeah, they're going to switch everything on him, I'm sure, and then they're going to try to put a guy of maybe longer arms on him just to get in his face a little bit. And when he goes through that lane, he's going to feel it more than likely. Anytime you get in the guy's game, you're going to feel it when you go across the lane.
And you saw the handshakes between the head coaches there, between Bryn Lehman and Mark Triplett, but the tension is building here over the next 4 minutes.
Yes.
On the flip side for the Bulldogs, again, they lost a 10-point lead back in December against this very team. They lost in overtime by double digits. Coach Lehman simply said, I'm okay if you keep a piece of that with you, but make sure you use it as motivation and not distraction. The windshield is larger than the rearview mirror. Where you're going is more important than where you've been. Basically what he's saying there, Coach, is don't let that become a distraction.
Well, I think you got to look ahead. If you play a team that you're going to possibly see them in tournament, yeah, you lost a heartbreaker at home, but hopefully your kids learned a little bit from that. And the tournament game is what counts the most, and I'm sure Defiance is going to be ready to take and try to get that win tonight.
Second key, welcome wagon defense. Now, I'm not even sure if welcome wagon is still in operation anymore, but anybody that say was born at least in the 70s, maybe mid-80s, will remember this. New to the community, they had the basket, they rolled out the red carpet for you. Well, with the way Shawnee wants to run, and make no doubt about it, they want a track meet rather than a marathon. Transition defense coach, as you talked about, is going to be key, but it's not enough just to get back and say camp out within 5 feet of the basket. They'll drain 15 to 20 footers on you. They want to meet the ball at least at the 28-foot mark and then redirect it.
Well, I think you got to tell your players you got to turn around and look. You got to find where they're at all times. You can't wait till you get to the three-point line at the other end, because those guys are already there, ready to shoot the ball. So you got to pick them up before half court and know where they're at.
Those are your keys to the game, brought to you by Northwest State Community College, one of your former players, Belle McGuire. Did she at least finish the first semester? I'm throwing this out at you. You're not quite sure. Mabel, now see, Mabel's head's going to get 8 sizes too big, and she won't be able to walk into the next room if she knew I gave her a name drop.
I'm sure she did. Well, she works hard at school.
If she's not on the dean's list, she should be, right? Northwest State Community College, your key to great career opportunities begins with a great education of Northwest State. NorthwestState.edu, or give them a call at 419-267-1320 today. Time now for the starting lineups, brought to you by Baker Schindler Company. Proudly serving the area with the highest quality contracting services for nearly 100 years. Baker Schindler Company of Defiance and Paulding, baker-schindler.com. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Indians. No surprises, though. And we'll see it right here. There is a ton of not just height, but length. Trevick Bertke, 6'7", just a sophomore. And this is a guy who's primarily your point. Matthew Stiles, again, 5'11", and a senior. Tate Bender, 6'1", and a senior. Jagger Hutchins, 22, 6'7", and a senior. And then Beckett Bertke, between the two Bertke brothers, 18.5 and just over 20 points per ball game. It's impossible to simulate that type of length in practice. That is going to be a challenge.
Yes, it will. I mean, it's tough, when you have your JV team there, or even divide your varsity up. It's very hard to sometimes, to get the other teams, their talent level, their size, length. It's hard.